In one of the most isolated communities on Earth, a way of life lost for centuries is slowly making a comeback. For the Rapanui people of Easter Island, much is at stake, but with their language and culture already under threat and their society in turmoil, it may be too late.
The mindset of the Rapanui people has undergone a dramatic change. There are deep divisions on this island.
Denied their land rights and political freedom, tensions between the Rapanui and the Chilean government have reached boiling point.
The state keeps its grip on this island through violent means, through weapons.
If they want to take me from here, they'll have to kill me. There is no other way.
Centuries ago in the remote South Pacific, Easter Island was on the brink of ecological collapse and the Rapanui faced extinction. Today, Chilean colonisers threaten to overwhelm the remaining indigenous inhabitants. But the Rapanui people are fighting back and tensions are rising. I'm Nick Lazaridis. On this edition of 101 East, we look at the struggle for independence on Easter Island. With its astonishing archaeological heritage, Easter Island is one of the biggest open-air museums in the world. Its ancient Moai statues bear testament to a remarkable Polynesian culture that thrived for centuries in the remote South Pacific. While the Moai have endured, the descendants of those who built them face an increasingly precarious existence. And with time running out, a bold new generation of Rapanui activists are staking their claim for freedom.
My name is Moa Terueru. I serve as the guardian of this land.
Moa Terueru cares little for politics, but he's an ardent supporter of Rapanui independence and on a mission to rescue his people.
I couldn't care less about the opinions of outsiders who come here and tell the Rapanui how they should live their lives. People who come here and decree laws that I should follow.
Moa has set up camp just meters away from one of the island's most sacred sites.
I live my life according to the Moai, nothing else. I wear this loincloth so that I can feel the power of the wind. It enters into my body. It enters into my soul. I listen to the power of the ocean, and it speaks until the end of time.
Claiming to be guided by the spirits of his ancestors, Moa believes the Rapanui's only salvation is to return to the ways of old.
It's my vocation to come here and work, and dress like my forebears, to speak again the language of the Moai, so the whole world will understand the Rapanui.
Although the Rapanui people are exclusively Polynesian, they are governed almost 4,000 kilometres away in South America, the result of Chile's annexation of Easter Island in 1888. And more than a century on, the island remains tightly in the grip of the Chilean state.
From the standpoint of international law, Rapanui can't be seen as a Chilean colony of any type. On the contrary, it is part of the national territory of Chile.
Far from the island's only town of Hangaroa, the moai of Tongariki, once scattered by a tsunami, have been restored to face the setting sun. Designated as a Chilean national park, Moa has reclaimed the site for his clan and is hoping others will follow suit by returning to their ancestral lands.
The people living in Hangaroa only care about how much money they can stuff into their pockets. Look at the loincloth of the ancient people. It has no pockets. It's clear, inside and outside. There's nowhere to hide anything.
For the Rapanui, contact with the outside world has been devastating. In 1862, Peruvian slave traders decimated the island's population. When a treaty of mutual friendship was signed with Chile, with no mention of sovereignty, the Chileans simply took over and turned the island into a giant sheep farm. Incensed, the Rapanui elected a new king who travelled to the mainland to protest, but he was poisoned the day after he arrived. On the island, the Chileans burned the Rapanui's crops and forced them into a concentration camp where many died of starvation. By the 1950s, the Rapanui were living under a harsh military regime.
When I was a kid, the Chilean Navy was in charge here, and we lived under their rules back then. No one dared look directly, like this, to a naval officer, because you'll be kicked, choked, or even killed.
After 125 years of Chilean rule, Easter Island's slow-burning fires of rebellion are being restoked.
My name is Liviante Araki Tepano. It is my goal to unite the Rapanui people so our island can be independent once more.
As Easter Island's most outspoken advocate for independence, Liviante Araki is a rebel of the cause. He's the president of the Rapanui Parliament, a group elected by the island's clans that Chile refuses to recognise. And he's one of the first islanders to challenge Chilean sovereignty by claiming his ancestral land rights.
I came to live here on the volcano because it's the land of my grandfathers. And ever since then, the Chilean government has tried to get me out of here because they've designated it as a national park.
Liviante makes no secret of his deep resentment of the Chilean state, and he wants the world to take note.
I want the world to know that we are slaves on our own island, on our stolen land. We need the international community to help us, to force Chile from here.
But Leviante's bold statements are brushed off by the Chilean government's commissioner on the island, Carlos Lancacao.
The truth is that although today independence is being demanded by certain groups, for the most part the community has always felt Chilean and proud to be part of the nation of Chile, and have never been interested in either independence or decolonisation.
Until recently, Easter Island's remote location guaranteed it a measure of isolation from the outside world, but not anymore. Now, twice-daily flights link Rapanui to the Chilean capital, as well as direct flights to Tahiti and Peru. The warm Polynesian greetings to passengers belie the tensions that the influx of outsiders creates. The demographics of the island are rapidly changing. The Rapanui are already outnumbered by mainland Chileans looking for a better life.
They come looking for work. They come to our jobs. They come after the tourist dollars. They want it all. They take everything that belongs to the Rapanui.
According to Leviante, the Rapanui continue to be duped. He claims fishing rights in Rapanui waters have been sold off in secret deals by the Chilean government. Its national park system rakes in tens of millions from tourists to the island. But there's little to show for it. With its abysmal roads, limited communications and constant electricity blackouts, the island's infrastructure is crumbling.
If Chile leaves, we'll be much better off. The Rapanui will have a better quality of life, because right now, I can tell you our standard of living is very low.
With nothing stopping the tide of immigrants from the mainland, in August 2009, Leviante decided upon an audacious move. He closed the island's airport.
I closed down the airport because it is my right as the owner of this land.
Taking the authorities by surprise, Rapanui activists drove straight onto the airport's runway.
Members of the parliament entered the airport and sat on the runway and gained immediate attention of the government. The Rapanui parliament closed the door on Chile. This land doesn't belong to Chile. We ask you to leave, and if you don't, we will expel you and close the airport.
Allowing government officials to land on the island for talks, Leviante Iraqi upped the ante.
We are reclaiming our territory and our land today. More than ever, we are taking this case worldwide. We want our territory and land back, and we want our proper government.
The demand for sovereignty was ignored, but when the government agreed to introduce immigration control measures, the protesters backed off. 3 years later, nothing has changed. And while the demands for independence have only grown louder, not all the Rapanui want to go it alone.
I will always fight against independence.
Why?
I don't agree with independence.
Tell me why.
Because the island does not have it does not have that autonomy, that real autonomy to support itself.